Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Raeann, but you can call me Ray. Today's video is on the new Coloured Raine, well, I guess we're gonna call it a collection. So it is a collection, but all I got was the palette. So this is the Juicy Boost palette. First of all, look at how big this palette is. Like, it kind of is gigantic. I think it's just because like most of the palettes I've been getting recently are like half this size, so I was like, okay. But look at how beautiful this palette is. Like, super fun, very summery, and just gorgeous. I think this palette was actually supposed to come out earlier than they actually launched it, but I know a lot of things are kind of getting pushed back. This palette is super pretty, just very fun. Look at the packaging on this. Like, this is so cute. They did actually have a lot of products a part of this collection that had the same like Juicy Boost logo on it with like the little artwork, which is really cute. They had like a drink tumbler, I think, a umbrella, a couple other things. I don't remember exactly what they had. And they did come out with a collection of lipsticks too. The lipsticks were super fun. I was actually looking at the yellow one. I don't know. I mean, I don't think the yellow, I don't know how that would have looked on me, but the yellow was super fun. I think they even had a green shade too. Yeah, so they had looks like they had like a pink. It looks like they might have had a gloss. I'm not exactly sure. They had a green, a purple, a darker like blackberry shade, and yeah, and the honey mustard shade. So they were all really fun. Honestly, if I could, I probably would have bought the whole collection of lip products just because the color story is really fun. And a lot of times with lip products, if you don't like them for your lips, you can also use them as an eyeshadow. I don't think that works for every formula, and that's kind of your call whether or not you want to use it, if it's going to be eye safe because it's supposed to be a lip product. But anyways, don't get any ideas from me. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the palette. So they also, oh, I just realized they have all of the products listed on this little brochure, like pamphlet thing that they put in the box. And they also have like a bunch of really cute ideas for looks, and they kind of call them like certain things, like basically like they're supposed to be different smoothies and they're all different looks, which is really cute and really fun. I do like when brands include looks for you, especially when it's a colorful palette. If you're not super used to like colorful looks using colorful palettes, it's always nice to have something to kind of help you like navigate through that, because then you can always change things out as you wish as well, which is always really nice. The one thing I wanted to mention about the palette, so it's $52 for the palette. It comes in this style here, which they're calling the flat lace style, and also the book style. So it was kind of like the Raw Beauty Christie like palette. It's like that style, but instead of having it like dual-sided, it's just one and opens up, and then like you can flip it and then see the other part of it, if that makes sense. Like literally just like a book. So I was kind of torn if I wanted to get the book or the flat lace style. I knew that this one was going to be bigger and take up a little more space, but it's still small enough to fit inside of my makeup drawer, so that's fine with me. The only reason why I didn't get the book is I like the book style for like travel and everything, but I just like being able to see everything laid out all together. I feel like that just helps me. I can just get a, it's just easier for like my creative flow, okay? It's just easier to be able to see everything and go from there. So let's go ahead and get into the swatches. Just gonna start with the first row, which is basically our blue and green row, starting with this shade here. Then when I go to the second row, we'll start with this shade. And then third row we'll start with this shade. I'll probably do each row and then kind of take it off and then do the next row. Ooh, this is very foiled. So this is the first shade. Is a super foiled shade. Trying to just make that a little bit of a better swatch. So this is the first row. Everything actually swatched out pretty nicely. I wasn't even really pressing too hard when I was swatching out the shades. The only one that's a little bit patchy is that darker like green color, but that's honestly not super surprising. But this shimmer shade just looks absolutely gorgeous and super foiled, which I'm excited for. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove this off my arm, and then we'll go ahead and get into the second row. So I don't even think I mentioned this, but I've actually never tried Coloured Raine before. I was super interested when I first found out about them a couple years ago to try their lip products, and I never did. I don't know why. And then they had like a palette or two that I was interested in trying, and I just never did. I honestly, like I said, I don't really know why I never ended up trying them. They've always been a brand that I wanted to try, and I guess I just never did. But this palette did it for me, I guess. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna try them finally. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the second row. Alright, so again, super foiled. These look absolutely gorgeous. There are only 3 shimmer shades in here, by the way. Alright, so this is the second row. Not a ton of dimension between these shades, but they're still really pretty. This last shade, these 2 shades, and like this shimmer shade, super pretty. Yeah, they all basically swatched out the same. That one, this shade here is a little patchy for the swatch, but honestly doesn't bother me. Ooh, this pink shade left a ton of glitter. All right, so we are a little stained, especially from that shimmer shade. Let's go ahead. Ooh. Yeah, these shimmer shades all kind of feel different. Like, they don't feel like the same formula, unless I'm like losing my mind. But they did, I swear they felt different, like dipping my finger into the pan. So I don't know, interesting. All right, so this is the third and final row. Oh my God, that is stunning. I'm freaking out about that shade right now, and normally I would just be like, it's a goldy shade, but look at that. All right, and our second shade. All right, so this is the last row. Basically all swatched out the same as the other ones did. That gold shade is like, I'm losing my mind over that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove the swatches off of my arm, and then we will be back to do the look. Okay, so this is the look we have so far. I will say it is a little bit different than what I was going to do, but so far, I actually kind of like it. I'm gonna start with this shade right here, and then that'll be like the first half of my crease. Then we're gonna move into this shade right here, and that'll be the outer, and that's where I'll start to wing it out a little bit. I'll stop it right about there, and just want to build this up because we are gonna do a half cut crease. So now I'm going to start in with that orange shade. Try to get a good blend on those 2 colors in the middle. And then just gonna take it from there and start to kind of wing that out. So from there, we're gonna go into a tiny bit of this shade right here, just to deepen up the outer portion where I put the orange color. Okay, so the outer portion, going to add this green color here. It's just gonna go above the orange part, but not above the pink part. So to blend out the pink part, I'm gonna go in with this ginger shade. So this shade right here, I don't know why, but I keep wanting to call that shade, so it's actually Ginger Bay. I wanted to call it Ginger Ale. And yeah, now I really want ginger ale. Am I like the only person that likes ginger ale? Because I feel like I'm like one of the few people. And also right on the outer portion of my eye, we're going to take that same shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut out my crease. So the only reason why I'm doing that right now is because my original plan was to cut out my crease, do that white shade over it, and then just a light layer of glitter from the gold shade. But I needed something to blend the gold shade into, so I chose the pink, and then I went heavy-handed with the pink, so then it made sense that I just had to go full on with the gold shade. So that's why I'm doing it that way. The only reason why I'm still doing it that way is just to make sure that it matches this eye the best that I can, or else I probably wouldn't bother with the concealer, but that's why we're doing it now. Okay, so I'm back. We're gonna go ahead and go into this more golden shade. So like I said earlier, I was just gonna keep the look kind of how it is now, but just do like a light layer of glitter, because I guess you can kind of call these like a foiled shadow. So you can do like a really light layer and have it be more glittery if you want to, or you can just do like full on and then have it be like super powerful like shimmer, which is kind of cool. They feel like they're a little versatile, so that's always nice. So that was my original plan. So yeah, like I said, I was gonna do like a lighter layer of glitter, and it was actually looking really pretty, and I wanted to do the same with the pink shade, and I just don't know if it's just a different formula or what, but I ended up going in way too heavy-handed on the pink shade and mixing it into my gold. So then here we are. But it would have been really pretty, and I'm definitely doing that in other looks with this palette, which I feel like I want to do a 3 looks 1 palette with this palette, so I will most likely be doing that. I did one for the Ace palette, by the way. That one will be up for the Nostalgia palette. That will be up after this video. And then this 3 looks 1 palette will probably be up after that, if I had to guess. Okay, so I don't even know if I even pointed to this shade, but I went in with this shade, and then now we're gonna go in with this pinky shade. Okay, so that's basically it for that. The under eye is going to be the same shade that we started out with. So we have this shade right here. I'm just gonna run that under the eye. Alright, and then for the inner corner, I just took one of my ColourPop highlighters, probably Lunch Money. Nope, it's Flexitarian. So just one of these. I like using these for the inner corner if I don't really have anything in the palette that I want to use, or if there isn't like another color that's really like speaking to me, you know? Like I feel like this, usually I like doing a bright color, but sometimes, especially when it's a little more busy like this look is, doing something a little more simple in the inner corner is always a good thing to do unless you're feeling really spicy. So I'm just popping that in there. And then I just very lightly go into that golden shade. So the one that we used here. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you can just kind of use it as like a glitter. So just tapping that in there. Alright, so this is basically the finished look. I'm just going to fix any problem areas that I have, pop some lashes on, and do basically the rest of my face. I'll show you guys what everything looks like, and then we can talk about the palette. Okay, so this is the finished look. So, sorry, I always look at it this way. Where I did that thing with my eyebrows, I have no idea. So, I actually kind of love this look. I know that the green kind of looks a little random, but I think it actually looks pretty good. I don't know, I'm happy with it. When I look at this look, I literally picture this, like, that's what I picture. So, that being said, I'm actually pretty happy with this look. So, let's go ahead and talk about the palette. I actually think that these mattes are probably some of the best mattes in a palette that I've used in my most recent videos. So the last, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 palettes that I've used, I think that these mattes might be probably my favorite out of all. Maybe not my favorite. Ooh, I don't know. That's a pretty big claim. But I did think that these mattes were really easy to work with, super pretty. They didn't feel patchy or anything. I do wish that there was more of a yellow shade in this palette. The ginger shade that I used, that's probably the closest to a yellow in this palette, so I kind of wish that maybe there was a brighter yellow in this palette. I feel like that would have been a really nice addition. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I would change about it. The pink row just doesn't seem like there's that much, like, definition. I kind of just wish there were a little bit more, like, variety of colors in here. Like, you really kind of have your, like, blue, this is like your blue row, your pink row, and your orange row. So if they kind of changed it up a little bit and added a tiny bit different colors, I feel like that would have made it even a little bit more fun than it already is. It is a gorgeous palette and I do like it, but it's like this one is kind of cool because you have the blues, you have some green shades, like there's a little more variety in here, where this one is basically all just more orangey shades with the exception of this. Actually, yeah, probably this shade. This is a little more of a kind of, I guess it's a little more yellow, and this one kind of pulls a little more yellow too, but if they would have brought those shades to be a little bit more yellow, that would have been really pretty. The pink row is like, I think it would have been really fun if they just did a tiny bit more variety in the colors, but overall I do think that it is really pretty, and so far I'm pretty pleased with the palette. Like I said, I feel like the mattes were really easy to work with, really easy to blend out. I feel like they're very pigmented, and the palette is majority matte shades anyways, so it is really important that the matte shades do perform well, because that basically takes up the whole palette. The other shades, I'm just gonna call them foil shades because that's kind of, they're foil shades to me. So that's just 3 shades out of the whole palette. So you really want those mattes to be beautiful, and I really do feel like they were super easy to work with, very gorgeous and pigmented, and yeah, I don't know, I'm just very happy with this palette so far. I think it's really fun. These 3 shades will also be super fun to play with. I can't wait to use these more. I can't wait to use the palette more. Like, I know I'm gonna do multiple looks with this palette, and I already have a bunch of ideas. So I'm super excited to keep using it. So far I'm really liking it. Like, I don't really have a single bad thing to say about it. Maybe I wish there was like traditional shimmers in the palette. I don't need them. Like, I don't know. They could have switched this up a little bit, but overall I'm still happy with how the palette is performing. So, you know, I'm not gonna sit there and nitpick it like all day and say like, oh, well, I wish they would have done this, I wish they would have done that. Like, am I happy with the palette the way it is? Absolutely. Do I feel like some things could have changed and benefited the palette a little bit more? absolutely. But for what it is, I still think this is a pretty good palette. Like, I'm excited to use it more. Like I said, as I was using it, I was already thinking of more ideas and things I wanted to do. So that's always a plus in my book. Like, if I'm using a palette for the first time and it's still continually like I'm getting ideas while I'm already like using it and still like being inspired by it. That's that's what I want. That's what I want in a palette. So yes, I am really liking this palette so far. I'm excited to keep using it. I can't wait to do more looks with this palette. And I guess I'll just leave it there. I'll just keep it kind of short and sweet today. I really hope you guys liked this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We'll see you next time.